Showtime, special guest. We've got James in the building. Big up the chat. Big up yourself, James. It's been a minute, man. I hope you're well and good, my boy.
I'm good, man. How are you? It has been a
I'm
while.
good,
It has
man.
been a while. Sorry about that. But yeah.
Nah, it's a minor, man. We both got busy. My chat have been on to me, like, get James on, get James on, get
Oh,
James on.
bless
And I
him.
finally did it. So I hope the chat appreciate it. James's channel is in the title. I can't imagine you're not subscribed already,
Oh,
but
thank you.
go subscribe. Obviously, this, you know what, yeah, James, I will say, obviously, we've both been busy. We've been trying to make this happen. But in a weird way, because it's the international break, I actually think it's the perfect time. Like, it's a period
Mm.
of reflection. Before I ask you, like, them kind of questions, yeah, while it's fresh in the mind, how you feeling about the Sunderland game, man? Talk to me. Leave no stone unturned.
Yeah. I mean, just on what you were saying, like it has been a little while. I sort of had a weird 6, 7 months where I just wasn't like in the content headspace for a little while. And that's just to do with other things in life or whatever.
Got to look after your mental,
Um,
man.
well, that's the thing, and also Arsenal just weren't very good. And I hate to say it, I will watch every game and I'll support for every game. Don't get me wrong, I'm not fickle like that. But I mean, I was, when we were eighth, I was there supporting or whatever. But I definitely didn't have like the kind of drive that I think this team's giving us all right now to talk about this team, to praise them, to enjoy the journey because it's one I think we're all enjoying right now.
Facts.
On Sunderland, to answer what you asked a bit more directly there, it's like I feel all right. Like I actually feel fine. Like genuinely, because a lot of I saw it as a bit of a missed opportunity, the fact that City and Liverpool were playing each other. But Culture Cans we had on Loose Cannons, he made a great point. He went, or was this the perfect weekend to drop points because you knew someone else was going to as well? And I thought that's kind of quite a good way to look at it, actually. Like, really, yeah, City gained on us, but we actually gained a point on Liverpool. And I think that kind of puts them out of it, if I'm honest. I think that's enough to.
What you think Liverpool are done? Like they're out of the title challenge
Yeah, I
now.
do. I do. I don't think you can lose 5 games by November and get smashed 3-0 by one of your title rivals. That's not, by the way, can they click? Absolutely. Can they win the Champions League? Sure. Pick up silverware. I still think they're a very, very, very good side. But in terms of winning the title, I think City and Arsenal are showing more. And City and Liverpool look a bit too vulnerable. But I'm sure we'll talk about them in more detail. I feel okay. Like, if the game had ended 2-2 and they'd equalised in like the 79th minute and we were kind of fighting for a win and we never got it, I think it would be easier to stomach. It's the fact that we got to the 94th and that's how they scored. I feel all right about it. I genuinely, I feel it was going to happen. 10 wins and a draw in 11. Like I remember a few years ago when we were challenging for the title and no one expected. I remember we lost away at Everton and we were all like, oh, it
Oh man.
happens. And I remember thinking like, yeah, you're going to lose a game eventually. But now it's like, no, now we're talking about draws, like, still picking up a point. Everton weren't as good as the Sunderland side at the time. So the levels have gone up. And, if you're going to drop points, it's not the worst way for it to happen.
Obviously, James, like that's your opinion, and you're right for what it's worth. I kind of share that, and you can't you can only be accountable for your own opinions and things of that ilk. But
Mm.
there is a section of our fan base. I get it. We've been winning games, keeping clean sheets, getting 3 points. As you said, it's a big weekend. I do feel there's a slight in fact, a massive overreaction, really and truly, with this 2-2 draw. Because as you said, like naturally, I want to win the game. I think football's a bit weird. Sometimes you don't deserve to lose and you lose. Sometimes you don't necessarily deserve to win and you win. Sometimes, you draw when you deserve a bit more or less. Equally, though, there are times where you get what you deserve. And I think on the grand scheme of it, Sunderland and Arsenal are points a fair result. Now, people could do the kind of lazy view, in my opinion, James, and say, kind of disregard what Sunderland are doing this season and just literally see Arsenal, Sunderland. Arsenal should be winning that. And I hear that, we're Arsenal Football Club. We want to win every game, right? But when you look at their defensive record as well as ours going into the game, the way they're performing, the fact that this is why they wanted to be back into this league. And when you look over 90 minutes, I'm sure they would argue they were probably better in the first half, was probably better in the second. Both teams conceded 2 sloppy goals. I personally think every time you concede 2 goals in the Premier League, there are games where you can win, but you can't really complain. It's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things, man. But like, to put it back to you, like, why is there an overreaction in your opinion? Because it's like people have gone from at the start of the season, Arsenal are not on anything. Arteta this, that, the third from the Newcastle game, literally until kick off the Sunderland. Nobody can stop us. And it feels like it's going the other way now. Like everybody's City are going to overtake us. They're lurking. But specific to Arsenal and the Sunderland game, like, why do you think there's a slight overreaction?
Well, because we're all desperate to win. Like, that's all it
Facts.
is. Like we've
Facts.
seen City catch us twice before. We had a 7-point lead that first season, and we really had a grip of it with 7 games to go, I think, in the 23-24 campaign. We lost at home to Villa. So I think
Facts.
we just have that sense of like, oh, could it happen again? You can't give them a sniff, but that's not realistic. I did a video. One of your viewers is very kindly, I think it's Sadiq, very kindly mentioned
Big
it.
up
It was,
Sadiq.
yeah, it was yesterday's on the Goonverse. And he said, what I said in it was, look at Liverpool's results December to March. And yeah, so he's referencing here the second half that I talked about. And the performance went up massively. But Liverpool as well, if you look at December to March last season, they had loads. I'll read them out to you. They had loads and loads of disappointing results in that run. But nor us nor City were, basically
Nowhere near them,
consistent to
really.
take
For honest.
advantage of it. But you can have sloppy results and still build momentum. Just some of them. They drew 3-3 to Newcastle with a late equaliser. They drew 2-2 at home to Fulham. They drew 2-2 at home to Man United, who were awful last season. They drew 1-1 at Forest. They needed injury time goals to beat Brentford 2-0 away. What else they did? They drew 2-2 at Everton, Tarkowski in the 98th minute. Remember that? That rocket he scored at Goodison Park. And they drew 2-2 away at Villa, who, were good last season, but you'd expect Liverpool to beat them. So I've just reeled off 6, 7 results in that, that spell that didn't really go their way. And so you can have that. And Sunderland, I think, is a pretty understandable one with the amount of players we've got out, with the fact that we looked a little bit uncomfortable. Football goes like this. Like, I actually think, this might be a controversial opinion, I actually think we were good value for the win against Sunderland. I actually think we played well enough in that second half and we limited them enough.
You just didn't see the result through, man.
We just didn't see it through. But Man United away, when we won 1-0,
yeah, we got lucky there still.
We got away with that one a little bit.
That's what I mean, James, about football. Sometimes you get what you deserve, sometimes you don't. It's all swings and roundabouts. And I don't want to be that guy. And sorry to cut you, James, but in August, I don't want to be this guy because I kind of hate this kind of rhetoric. But in August, if you offered Arsenal this points tally and the results, you would have bit your arm off for this. You would have bit, especially with a 4 points gap. Yes, it's early in the season. It can get close. It can even go down to a point before we kick off against Spurs. But every Arsenal fan would have had this. And if you didn't, you're lying, in my opinion, but fair play.
Well, let me flip it another way. We were 1 point. Actually, okay. When we beat Newcastle, that was to close the gap on Liverpool, just lost to Palace. Do you remember? We were so gassed because we closed it to 2 points. We were like, okay, finally, like we pulled ourselves back in this race. And it doesn't feel like that. But that was us all being energized by being back in it. A week on from that, they lose to Chelsea in the 90-something minute. So we actually go a point clear of them to go top of the league in that international break. So if someone told you in that international break, by the next one, you'll have gained a point on City and you'll be 4 points clear at the top. Because remember, City lost at Villa. So in this stretch of 12 points and 4 games between international breaks, we've put up 10 out of 12. They've put up 9 out of 12. So again, if someone offered that to me, they said, you're going to gain another point on City across this next stretch of games. Yeah, done. 100%.
Even going back to the Liverpool game, I'm sure it was an international break where we was then. Like, people need to keep this in check, but falling on deaf ears.
Well, and now we're 8 points ahead of Liverpool. So there's been a 10-point swing since before. Wait, hold on. There's been a 10-point swing since before we played West Ham and they played Chelsea. There's been an even bigger swing since that Palace game where Eddie Nketiah scored in the last minute. So I think that teaches us 2 lessons. A, that football can change so quickly. So we shouldn't,
weeks a long time away when they say
too much. But at the same time that, when you put together 10 wins and a draw, that's a body of work that's going to show over a month and a half, 2 months or whatever, month and a half, let's call it. So in that time, Arsenal have basically gone, joint with Bayern, sort of top of this, Champions League group.
Who ironically also dropped points at the weekend as well, so you can't win them all.
Yeah, Carabao Cup quarters, and and 4 points clear at the top of the league. God, I would have taken that. I would have bitten your hand off for it. I said,
Same.
absolutely. Like, especially because I don't feel like a lot of our best players have clicked and a lot of our football's
I
clicked.
don't feel we've clicked full stop. I keep saying this every day. And I think that's the most positive and scary thing in that we've been boxing cleverly. Yeah, there's been curveballs, there's been injuries, there's been all of those kind of things. But when especially our attackers, when they're fit and available and able to rotate, the starters, when we're allowed to play and relationships can be built and consistency, you marry that in with what we're doing already. I'm not saying we're going to blitz the whole world and win everything, including the Tour de France. But it is promising. It is like, well, we've had to, like, when you look at the points we've dropped this season, I'm not saying I'm necessarily happy to drop points to City, Sunderland, or Liverpool, because I think there's learning curves for Mikel Arteta. I think there's learning curves for the boys. Like, even against Sunderland, I mean, it is what it is. Maybe we could have made some subs quicker. Maybe we sat off a bit towards the end and tried to see out the lead, and it bit us in the arse. Obviously, we could have defended better. There were some fine chances that we didn't take, right? But that's football. When you look at who we dropped points to, Sunderland were fourth at one point. I don't know where they are now. One of the best informed sides. City, first half, I wasn't happy. I think we could have won that, but it is Man City. We dropped points to Liverpool. It is Liverpool, the reigning champions. We haven't had any banana skins, especially with this stretch that's now ended with the bogey teams. And for me, I don't know how you feel, and I don't know what's to be said in the season. Obviously, we've beaten Atletico Madrid like 4-0 and all those kind of things. For me, the best result or best performance or game I'm happy with, it'd be Newcastle away for the obvious. And I think that would be a turning point. Like, if we win the league, win this Premier League, that is the game I'm going to look at, because that's the game I thought, okay, we're different. We're really different now. So everyone needs to calm down, man.
I agree. If I traded you the Sunderland win for a draw at Newcastle, the perspective would be different. Yeah, tough place to go. You got a draw at Newcastle, but fair play, you won at Sunderland. The reality is, it's Newcastle who are down in mid-table and it's Sunderland who are fourth. Exactly. So let's take it at face value. Sunderland is the harder place to go right now.
Exactly.
Well, and let's also be respectful to Newcastle. I know they're in bad form, but it's still always a cauldron going to St. James's. How City do will be very interesting.
I think City are going to win, man. I think they are going to go through a run of form. It's a weird one because I do think the Sharks are circling. I do think they're galvanized. I do think they're going to go on a run. Equally, I do think there's going to be many twists and turns and drop points and game points between both sides. The difference is, obviously, they haven't got Kevin De Bruyne. They don't really have that length of consistency or that higher standard of consistency they've previously had. I genuinely think City could win this league. Liverpool is looking a myth, if I'm honest, but I won't rule them out. And obviously us, if we just stand up and fight, we've never had a better chance. So our Arsenal fans, I implore you, a week's a long time in football. Every week, if you're looking at the league table, doing calculations and doing doom or gloom, or as happy as Larry, you're going to upset yourself. But that isn't, I don't know what to say to that. I want to ask you as well, just before I forget, what have you made of Man City? Like, where do you rank Man City? Like, what have you made of them, man? Because I know people will belittle beating Liverpool, but it's still beating Liverpool. It's still beating title challengers, man.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because actually going to come in on that point there. So you got to forgive me and everyone listening for being really pedantic about this, but I want to make myself very clear before people think I don't rate Man City. The teams we lost to were the treble winners the season we first lost to them, and the second season they won their fourth title in a row. This was a serious Premier League outfit. Like, they will go down in the history books. Treble winners, 4 in a row. And then years before that, they were the Centurions. They had quite a lot of those players still.
At the 100 points. City are just, they've done various different hallmarks in Premier League seasons.
So City are victims of their own success, because we should be sitting here right now and saying, wow, they're brilliant. But actually, we're being critical. We're saying, but they're not quite the City of old. But that's really important, because that's what outdid Arsenal before. Arsenal had a title-winning level team. We did.
Like, they were just several levels above us, unfortunately.
That team was good enough. The run they went on, we always talked about Liverpool and City being able to go on those runs. Arsenal matched that with that 16, what was it? 16 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat.
Something crazy like that. And big up Kai Havertz. Whenever someone mentions that, I always think Kai Havertz. I don't know why, but yeah.
Stupid run we went on. Now, the reason I say all that is because, in my opinion, that's not the hurdle that will be in front of us this season. Like, I don't think Arsenal have to pull out that kind of run to win the league. By the way, I don't think City will need to either. I think Arsenal and City will both lose a couple more games this season.
Exactly. There's many twists and turns. There's a lot of
Yeah,
games.
I think both teams are a little bit more vulnerable. I still don't think Arsenal have fully clicked with the attack, and I don't think City are quite. I know their defense. I know it's 8 goals conceded, and I know it's the second best in the league, and it looks quite good.
They can
But
be got
I
out.
think Bournemouth left a goal or two on the pitch at the Etihad. I think Liverpool definitely left a goal or two on the
Brentford
pitch at the Etihad.
100% as well a few weeks ago. I was watching that game.
So I never actually called that game, but yeah. So there we go. So there's a little part of it. Whereas Arsenal, when we're keeping clean sheets, I'm going, yeah, no, that's right. Like no one got near us. If that kind of makes sense. Anyway, so guess what I'm trying to say is the reason I'm being super pedantic about it is they're obviously very, very good. Haaland is maybe the greatest goal scorer the Premier League's ever seen. And we're talking pound for pound for amount
Just
of time
being a
he's
goal
been in the
scorer,
league,
yeah.
right? And Pep Guardiola is also quite possibly
Legend.
pound for
They
pound the
got a bloody
best.
good keeper as well. And they do have the experience of doing it before collectively.
All of that. But if I'm talking about what I'm seeing with my eyes, the performances from the teams, I actually think Arsenal still look a bit more impressive. Genuinely, I still think we look a bit more complete as an outfit. And that's with a lot of players missing. People need to remember we're 4 points clear with a lot of our best attacking players
Been dealing
not
with
available.
injuries since day one of this season.
Yeah, some have been, and people need to think, yes, Jesus, Kai, Madueke, they're probably not going to start, but my word, they'll have an impact when they're back. Martinelli saw we did in the Champions League, and Erdegaard was cooking before he got injured.
And we're
So
going to need Kai and
I,
Gyökeres, really.
we're going to need both. We're going to need all of them. So I basically feel that if we can maintain this level, if we can stay consistent, get some players back, I really think more than ever, whether we win the title is about what we do. Whereas in the previous years, yeah, maybe 22, 23, we bottled it a little bit. Maybe 23, 24, you beat Villa at home, but we were on a tremendous run. I feel like City won those. They stole those from us by playing to such a consistent, unbelievable level. And what they've gone and achieved with those sides is testament to that. I don't think this City are that. Last year, they were miles off the title. They lost in the FA Cup final to Palace. And this year, I heard people saying, if you want to win the league, you've got to beat teams like Sunderland. All right, well, if City are going to do it, they lost at home to Spurs and away at Brighton. So one of us is going to win it, and
And in
there'll
the
be
last
some
2 years,
poor
if anything, the top 6 games hasn't been the issue. It's been the banana skins, really. So I've never quite subscribed to that rhetoric.
Totally agree. So sorry for the really long-winded answer.
Nah, man, that's what you're here. We love to hear what you got to say, James, man. Keep
I
it going.
appreciate it. Thank you. Haaland, Guardiola, and and what they've done as a group is to be unbelievably respected. And if they pip us to the title, I wouldn't be surprised because also, and here's me sort of biting a little bit back at City, but they have spent hundreds of millions as well, like from January to this summer. Like they're also expected to. I don't know why there shouldn't be a free pass. That sort of City and Guardiola and all this money spent.
Only Arsenal
Be.
spend money, man.
What's that? Sorry.
Only Arsenal spend money.
But this is kind of the thing. Like we all spend money, so I'm not surprised City are up there. I had them up there to compete. I'm not surprised they're up there competing. Do I think they're quite at that level where I've gone, oh my God, it doesn't really matter what we do. If they click, they're going to nick it. I don't think that. I think if we keep doing our thing, we'll be all right. But keep doing your thing is easier said than done because it's about up here as well. And City have that. City are mentally incredibly resilient. They've been there and done it again and again. And yeah, I worry. So again, apologies for taking so long to give my answer, but I just think they're very good. I don't think they are like history defining, which is what they've been in the past.
And this is where it's all to play for. For me, when you said that, I thought of 2 things. Like you made a point about, and I agreed because I co-signed it in that they've been there, done it, and wore the t-shirt. Yes, our players, a lot of them have won trophies, but collectively as a unit, we haven't done it. If anything, we should be hungrier than them because, again, we've been so close, but so far type of thing, if that makes sense. So we've got it all to play for, man. Do you have any concerns? Because as much as me and you could wax lyrical about this team, because I do feel we're not perfect, we're not amazing, we haven't clicked, and I don't know where the season's going to go. I'm not suggesting we're going to win everything, but for me, for us balanced fans, and I think you're the same, I do think there's a lot more positives than negatives, really, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would say for me, if there is any negatives, big up Clive Palmer, he made a point in that. I feel we've got this air of inevitability and maturity about us, but he did say, I don't know if we're going to be, because I haven't seen it, if we're going to be able to keep our nerves during the crunch moments of the season. Obviously, we've got a lot of injuries in the attacking realm. And although I feel since the Newcastle game up until this point, we're not playing scintillating attacking football, I do think there's enough of what Arteta has done to suggest some players start pulling their finger out and uptaking their form, players get back, will be all right. But some would say maybe our attack not clicking. As Rashid has said here, we're 17th for goals from open play. Like, is there any potential concerns just looking internally at our football club?
I think okay, yeah. So Clive makes a really good point there about nerves, and that's a fair one. But do you know why I don't actually worry too much about the nerves in this team is because, 23-24, when we lost to Villa, that wasn't nerves. We should have been 3-0 up at half time. Like, we were killing them.
We're just
Just sometimes the ball doesn't go in the back of the net, and then they found a way. We slept at the back post or whatever, and they win the game. Ollie Watkins was on fire that year. So, okay. We then go and win at Tottenham. We then go and win at Man United. We then go and put all the points on the board after that. So I don't think there's nerves there. I also think Champions League, you could argue there's nerves against Real Madrid, whether it be at home or at the Bernabeu. They didn't show it.
squad as well.
I don't even think we showed nerves against PSG. Like, genuinely, that wasn't a nerves thing. They were just a bit better than us, but we had loads of chances.
We never got
in that
stage
game.
fright.
In Paris, we had loads of chances. So I actually think the team is mentally there. I really do think they are there mentally. So it's more experience. It's not like I don't think they'll bottle it. Experience is a different thing. It's know-how. It's, we're in this position. How do we navigate this? That's not
cross that line
we're
now,
nervous, we're scared. So maybe there's a know-how thing. I also think where I do have a genuine concern. And again, shout out to Cams, who's on Loose Cannons. And I think a few people have mentioned this. I think you just hinted it there, actually. We don't have a Salah of last season, and we don't have a Haaland of this season. We really are trying to do this as a collective. Now, I am not going to pass opinion on which one's more sustainable. You guys can tell me in the comments, because I have no idea. I could never sit here on camera and say, yeah, but Haaland scoring at this rate isn't sustainable. I'd look like an idiot. It has been for years and years and years. He has done this time and time again. I think he's disrespected.
For Salah previously as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. With Salah last season, I thought, how do I explain
ridiculous from him last year.
It was ridiculous from him. I kind of thought with Salah, though, I don't know how to explain it. I thought if he didn't deliver, I thought, yeah, but look at all the other attackers. I just kind of thought they were relentless enough. So I thought Liverpool's output was sustainable, if that makes sense. More
collective output, yeah.
It was a collective, like they will keep scoring goals. Whereas with City, I do think if it stops for Haaland, then I think they've got a few more problems. But I just don't think it's going to stop for Haaland. I think he is disrespected as...
He's inevitable, man. He is disrespected because he's not aesthetically pleasing. The man's a cerebral, cold-hearted killer of a striker. His problem is you can't help when you're born, but if you was born in the 80s, the 90s, even the early to mid 2000s, you should be held in high regards, but you'd be held in a lot high regards. Like, you look around, obviously there's number nines, but what pure number nines are there that you say are going to be here in 3-4 years? Like, Kane's not going to be here forever. Lewandowski's winding down. I wish we had Haaland in it. No disrespect to our strikers, which we'll discuss in a moment.
Yeah, you make a good point. How many of them are actually out there? But with Haaland, it's a good point about the era. Would he have been more respected? Basically, does nostalgia always play a part, right? Like, when we've had you on the match attacks cards, and you did it back in the 90s, early 2000s, whatever it is. Like, does that play a part? I mean, maybe. But I just think actually to do it in this era, and look, I'm no expert on what football was like back then. I started watching in 2006, but to do it in an era where the game is more tactical than ever before, where teams have more footage of you, more data on you, more everything. Like, one thing I can know this for sure: teams are more prepared for the opposition they're facing than they've ever been, ever. And managers have spoken about that. So I look at that and I think for Haaland to still basically be going, yeah, you prep for me, you do whatever you like, I'm gonna score. That's another level.
There's only
of
one way to stop
consistency.
Haaland, in my opinion. I mean, typically, he's actually not got the best of records, I believe, generally against Liverpool out of all the teams. But I think the only way to stop Haaland is what Arteta said. You just cut the supply line. That's it, really and truly, and just leave him against Saliba and Gabriel.
It's
Like, but
risky
that's why
though.
I was kind of asking you that, because I want our if I was to ask you your players of the season, yeah, you probably most Arsenal fans, and again, collective, all of that, you might lean towards Timber. You might say Magalhaes. You might even some would say Saliba. I wouldn't. You might say Calafiori. Some might say Zubamendi. You definitely have Rice. I don't think any of our attackers would be in that. Bar Trossard, big him up, he's doing his thing. That's where I need the Sakas, the Ezes to stay fit, build these relationships, and just start cooking in it, doing what you lot do, doing what we know you can do.
Yeah. Someone has to emerge. I mean, Bukayo Saka's numbers were really good last season. I'm going to see if I can find them. Last season, he definitely, considering he missed 4 months of football.
Crazy.
Let's have a little look. So 24-25, I'm looking at Transfermarkt here. So his numbers were, he missed 4 months of football and he put up 12 goals and 14 assists in all competitions. So that's 26 goals and assists in 37 games.
World class.
Like, that's really good output. Like, fair play to him. So imagine he played that 26 GA. I think he'd have hit 35. 35 across the season would have been a really good output campaign from Bukayo. So I wonder whether he can get back to that. He scored the penalty the other night in Prague and he got the goal. Really good goal, may I say, in Sunderland. So I think he can start. And what's he on this season? Let's have a little look. Again, he spent a month this season. He's on 6 goals. He hasn't got an assist, which is crazy, considering he had so many last season.
That's mad, Bukayo.
But you know what? 6 goals in 14 games. If he plays, he's 1 goal away from averaging, a goal every 2 games. I mean, if he plays, 45 games a season, then he's getting 20 plus goals. I mean,
I've got no worries about Saka. He's going to do what he needs to do. I just need you to do it. I
agree with you. I don't worry about him either. The output will come. He just needs everyone around him. I mean, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. He's still putting the numbers up. But it's going to help when Ødegaard returns, when, Gyökeres, is actually getting up to speed. I mean, he might have a benefit from Kai Havertz, from Ben White finding some form. So I'm
Madueke, because you can take Saka in and out the side and all of those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ash is right. Like, his numbers are good this season as well. Yeah. They're not amazing. Last season he was on a bit of a madness before he got injured. But yeah, I don't worry about Saka. But I do think, it's time we cool on him as much as a few others, sure. But like, this is now be the main man. For all the players we've added, you got to think Trossard, Kai Havertz, Gyökeres, Eze, Ødegaard. They've all arrived. Madueke, Jesus. They've all come in since Bukayo Saka was at the club. We've spent significant money on every single one, and he's still looked at to be the main man. That is a massive compliment to him, but it's also big responsibility amongst all these other players who came in for big money
on occasion as well. Now as well,
yeah, we're saying Bukayo, lead us, and I actually think he's been a great leader for us this season. The way he's spoken post game and some of the performances he's put in, like Atletico Madrid, Newcastle, all that.
Fulham away for me, very underrated performance. Brilliant. He never got GA, but
we were struggling.
People need to apply their eyes, man.
Yeah, and you know what? We should have had a penalty against Newcastle and a penalty against Fulham, so that's probably 2 more goals he'd have. So I'm honestly not worried about Bukayo at all. I think he will be the output guy. I think it just might take I think around that Christmas period, he might start to get some rhythm together.
See, that's my thing, James, as well, why I'm not worried. But like, I don't want to be like Arsene Wenger, big up the legend, but it will feel like new signings when our attacking players really go through some. See how Trossard's form is out of this world at the moment. Ironically, a player that a lot of people wanted sold. When we can kind of hold Saka and Eze and Gyökeres and Kai Havertz and this one and that one, kind of in that regards, we're absolutely laughing, and it's scary not for Arsenal Football Club. It's scary for everyone else. In fact, it might be scary for us because God knows what we could achieve and what we statistically could do. Talk to me about Eze, because I want to pick my words wisely. I did give, and I still do. I do think there's, for all footballers, even someone like Wirtz that can't buy a good game at this moment. I feel when people deep that these man, they might flop, but they're signing 4 or 5 year deals, and you're judging them 10, 11 games into a season where they're chasing fitness and all of that. Obviously, with Eze, the way you play at Palace, even though their manager's great, tactics, all that stuff, it's similar in that he's an overthinker. But there's a lot you got to get up to speed with individually and collectively. You've got to adapt. You've got to do all of that kind of stuff. I don't think he's been terrible. I would say a 6 with 7 moments out of 10. I must admit, though, James, I do have an element of underwhelmingness from Eze because I expect a lot more. That's not a critique. It's just I think there's more to come. But what have you made of Eze?
I think to be fair to him, like he hasn't half played a part for someone who's struggling. You know, got the equaliser. Let's have a look at Arsenal's games, right?
He's doing his thing, man. That his performance against Newcastle out of this world, that assist for Martinelli, he's doing his thing. Like he is doing his thing, but you're fitting in. I just want you to stand out because when we signed him, obviously forget the Crystal Palace highlights and stuff, but like bear it in mind. If somebody said Eze to me, I'm like talisman. You and Saka, talisman. Like, and then you throw in an Odegaard and Gyökeres. But yeah, man, he's doing all right.
Yeah, it's a great question. Ash says people forget that Eze's role is massively different at Arsenal.
True, and he's played
We'll
all about the
definitely
place.
touch on that in a sec. But let's look at the games, right? So his first full debut was Forest at home. I thought he was great in that game. Got an assist. I thought he was generally very, very good. Then the week after, Man City, I thought he was really good when he came on. Okay, actually, I'm exaggerating. He was good, but the pass to Martinelli was really, really good. Port Vale. I know I skipped Bilbao. He didn't play great in that. Port Vale got the opening goal. Newcastle, I thought he played brilliantly in that game.
Brilliant.
Can't remember how he played against Olympiacos. I think he was out the team or started on the left. I can't remember. No, maybe he came off the bench.
If I remember right.
West Ham, it's him who makes the underlapping run or that kind of run in between centre back and full back.
It should have bagged, but it's cool.
Yeah, his shot. He should have scored earlier in that game, but he makes that first goal happen. Fulham away, he struggled. Atletico at home, I thought he played well. Genuinely, I thought he had a good game.
Yeah.
Played some lovely balls in behind. Palace, he wins us the game. Brighton, he's just doing a job on the left, probably in second gigs. He doesn't want to get injured. Burnley away, I thought he looked a bit brighter, if I'm honest. Slavia Prague, barely in the game. Sunderland, barely in the game. So, I don't know. I feel like, again, Palace at home, for example, he won us the game, but I don't think he played that well. I get that people are a little bit underwhelmed, but he is a moments player. And I actually, like, when we signed him, I wanted him as a left winger.
Much better.
I never saw him as a 10. I think a lot of people saw him coming in and eventually displacing Odegaard.
You would have him on the left?
Always. Honestly, from the moment we signed him, I said, this isn't to replace Odegaard, it's to elevate him. Because now the creativity goes through 2 different streams. The eyes are on 2-3 different players. It frees up Odegaard a little bit.
And then you got Gyökeres occupying centre halves. Saka, there's space now.
I think we can have a lot of quality dominating games. So I think Miles will come back in at some point. And when you've got the likes of Miles, Eze, Odegaard, Zubimendi, all kind of floating around Saka, Gyökeres, that for me, that's what I want to see from Arsenal.
I think we're laughing. I've got no complaints about Eze.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying I got no complaints about Eze. I just think there's more to come and there will be more to come.
Yeah, he'll get there. And I know I've sort of defended Arsenal in every single point I've made here. Don't get me wrong, I have some concerns about certain things. I can't really be too critical after 10 wins.
Let us know these concerns as well, man.
4 points clear. Like, the concerns are more just like, oh, that could be a bit better. But I promise you, if we were looking at this through the lens of Man City, Chelsea, Sunderland, even Liverpool, whoever's at the top there, whichever team it is, we can pinpoint problems they have. The league is too competitive to, you know what? It's more diverse in its tactics than ever before.
100%. It's systemic football. I said this on TalkSport. It's systemic football now. Like, every manager is a micromanager. With the greatest of respect to a Crystal Palace, a Sunderland, these teams that you've kind of said, you early 2000s or mid 2000s, these games you're beating them up every day of the week. These are some of the most difficult games now in the Premier. Bournemouth, another example. Like, I know, like Bournemouth versus City the other week. Early 2000s, City weren't even that big of a club, but they'd probably be the favourites. People might not even heard of a Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth are potentially the favourites. Like, it's obviously money and the caliber of players going to make a difference, but it's never been about more coaching and the system and all of that kind of stuff than it is. I genuinely think it's a level playing field. And that's summed up with Arsenal. We're right against the top 6. I know we drew against City, we lost against Liverpool, but in the last 3 years, top 6 are bread and butter. We've been beating them up. It's been the bogey teams, the smaller clubs, the games that we're going to win on paper where we've effed up. So it's reflected in the current state of where we are, in my opinion, James.
Yeah. I think the game is more tricky than ever before. Like, so for example, they were praising Sunderland for bringing the ad boards close to the pitch. But in my
I
head,
saw that.
you know, and I wish I could take credit for this, but I remember watching it thinking, that's a bit, I don't really know why they've done that. And then I think it was Tim Stillman and a few others made the points on X that, you know, Sunderland actually benefit more from the long throw than we do.
Exactly.
So it's little things like that where you go, but that really just goes to show that Arsenal and Sunderland may well adopt similar tactics in a game at times. You know, when I did that analysis on the second half of Arsenal's game against Sunderland, we had way more shots. We had way more big chances, and we could all see on the eye we were better. But what if I told you we completed less passes in that second half than we did in the first half? You
I
wouldn't
would say,
think.
yeah, we did because we were a lot more adventurous in the second half.
Okay, well, there you go. So, and that's the lens through which you see it. But that surprised me. I thought we had so much control. But you're right. Like, we were more direct. We were punching it into the box a lot quicker. We were trying to make things happen. The fact that Arsenal could jump from that to that, you know, with a halftime team talk, you know, that's a real encouraging sign for me too. But also a sign of what's to come in the league. You know, Sunderland, people were saying, oh, they really fought, they were dogged and all that. Yeah, they also played some good football. I saw Roofs, the goalkeeper, in line with the centre backs at times. So, you know,
Facts.
the Premier League, I don't agree with what Jamie Carragher said. I agree with him that the product is uglier. I agree with him that the Premier League isn't as good a watch. I actually felt that last season. Last season, I found the Premier League a real slog to watch. This season, I think it's more entertaining because everyone's kind of more capable. But I agree, the football might be a little bit uglier. There might be more time wasted. There might be a little bit more in terms of set plays and long throws and all that. But ultimately, I totally disagree with the idea that the Premier League is worse in terms of quality throughout. I think, is it the best it's ever been? I don't know, but I definitely think it's on the higher end.
It depends. It's a techie one, James, because I would say yes and no. Obviously, if I'm just looking at it for forget tactics, because we're quite similar. We like the tactics and the nuances and all those kind of things. If I forget that and just casual fan, I want to be entertained. Obviously, I want to see 5-5s and 3-4s and all of that. I'm not necessarily seeing that. But if I look at every manager is a good manager in their own regards, even someone like Ruben Amorim that people want gone. He's known as a very hands-on coach, praised for his system. That is said across the board. And as you echoed it with Sunderland, obviously you look at the inverted fullbacks, the way strikers drop into midfield, the little tweaks in-game, as you said, you know, they're fine margins, dead balls, and all of that kind of stuff, heat maps and field tilts and stuff. I can't say that's not entertaining. I genuinely feel it kind of is if you look beyond the scope. So I don't agree with Jamie Carragher with that. Like, I really don't agree with it. I think it's lazy, if I'm honest with you. Generally, I hear it because it's not really that entertaining, but I just think those conversations on those platforms require a lot more nuances. And for ex-footballers, just a bit more in-depth analysis. It's just quite lazy. But what do I know? I'm just an armchair expert, man.
Well, listen, we're all just fans giving our opinion, but we watch football over many years, and you get a feeling as a fan about particular fixtures. And I'm just looking at the table now, right? I mean, the obvious ones, you know, Sunderland, Tottenham, Villa, United. I never want to go away to any of those teams, Liverpool. But then you go from ninth down. Honestly, which of these teams do you want to face? Forget at home. At home is, you know, can be tricky, but mainly away from home. Bournemouth, Palace, Brighton, Brentford, Everton, Newcastle, Fulham, Leeds, Burnley, maybe West Ham, Forest, Wolves. So maybe Burnley, maybe Wolves away. Do I see as the kind of teams that
I'm West Ham, if I'm honest. But other than that, all the names you listed off, it's like,
just won the
I'm not
last two
scared
at
of
home.
anyone, but it's a tough day at the office, man. It's difficult.
You're going to be worked hard. I'm not saying that you can't go and win those games 4-5-0. Arsenal have done that before, but I just think I really see very few that I think, yeah, you know, away from home, but that's an easy 3 points. Don't get me wrong. I think at home's a different. Like, okay, let's look at it through the lens of City. When I'm hoping that City drop points, and again, I'll get Man City's games in front of me. Look, they might win the next 15 games in a row, and I might look like an idiot for saying this. But in my head, next, they've got Newcastle away. Well, we know that's tricky. They've got Leeds at home. It's always the home games that I think, oh, you know, that's probably,
Hope so.
easy 3 points. And they go away to Fulham, you know, and then a couple of weeks after that, they go away to Palace. A little part of me goes, they might slip up at one of those.
You never know on the day, yeah.
They should win. They should win both. But they might. Like, I've got a decent amount of hope that they might. Because so the next 3 away games are Newcastle, Fulham, and Palace. I don't think those are ideal. I think
They're not ideal. They're not ideal. I think they
they
drop points at Palace. I think they beat Newcastle, if I'm honest. I think Palace is the one. If I had to ask a team to do the job for me, I would say Palace. But there's a reality. Neither Arsenal nor City for the foreseeable future. Lightly, like both teams just kind of go on a run, and who knows? The turn of the year could be where points are dropped.
Well, and as we said at the beginning of the show, the narrative, or not the narrative, the feeling around Arsenal when we saw Liverpool lose against Palace, that Eddie Nketiah goal, the feeling for all of us was, we can close the gap. Or it's going to be difficult. We need to beat Newcastle, but we can close the gap. And now it's a different position, but it also reminds us how quickly things can change. We could be sat here in a month behind City, going, "Oh, we're chasing."
But it's a reality.
Things can just change very, 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 very quickly. But that for me speaks to the quality of the Premier League. And I know a lot of people laughed at Tottenham and Man United last year for finishing 15th and 17th. And look, it was disgustingly low in the table. I don't think they got enough criticism for that, quite frankly. It was appalling finishes for them. But it also did somewhat speak to the quality in the Premier League, that you can't spend money like you want. You can't hire a manager who's not fit for purpose and kind of get a baseline 8th to 10th, however
big. You can't cheat your way in the league again.
No, you will fall down that table. You will absolutely fall down that table. Right. And you will be humbled properly. And I don't think that was the case when Unai Emery and Arsenal were struggling. That, I think there was always Arsenal will always be a bit above that because they've just got enough quality to win enough games. I just genuinely think the league is so unforgiving now. So unforgiving.
What are you saying for Gyökeres? Because before I forget, I want to ask you about Gyökeres. What have you made of him? Have you made of him in an Arsenal shirt? He's one that polarizes, obviously outside noise, but I'd say Arsenal fans have a lot of extreme opinions about Gyökeres.
As an individual, I'd like a bit more.
100%.
In terms of his contribution to the team, I think he's great.
I think we missed him against Sunderland, really, if I'm honest.
We really missed him. It's so strange to say because every part of me is going, no, but look at Sesko or Ekitike or Voltemada. Look at the tech they've got. By the way, complaints have emerged about all three of those strikers in the last.
Exactly. That's all made, especially in the last couple of weeks.
So it's so interesting seeing how quickly the narrative around players can change. All I know is Arsenal are playing better football, getting in behind teams more, and look more up for the fight when Gyökeres is the one leading the line. How do I stop running? I don't know.
The man never stops running. The man's relentless. Like you said there, I think as an individual, a bit like what I said with Eze, I'll cut you the luxury. You never had a pre-season. You got to learn the system. We're playing mid and low blocks. You got to adapt to the Premier League. I do feel sorry for all strikers in the modern day, and especially at my football club, because no strike, like even Haaland, you can't just stand and occupy centre halves. You've got to be somewhat of a sacrificial lamb. I'd say, if anyone benefits from having a striker, an out-and-out striker in our side, it's our wingers. So I cut him all of those kind of things. And yeah, there's times there's not kind of been service. Like I want Gyökeres to score a lot more goals that Eze ironically set him up for. But as an individual, maybe the penny needs to drop a bit more. Maybe he could do a bit more. But I'm cool with him. In the summer, I didn't really care between Sesko and Gyökeres. I just wanted a striker. You've got him, you've got Havertz, and you can work in tandem. And I know a lot of fans, it's either or. They'll say we need a squad, but it's either or. We have Kai Havertz fit. Gyökeres is not injured at this moment in time. He had a muscular injury. He had to play a lot of games because of the players we had available. I believe in Gyökeres, man. And if nothing worse, you've shown there's a reality where you bag week in, week out, yeah, or you've bagged in all the games. But the other aspects, the pressing, as you mentioned, the running in behind, the selflessness, that's not all there. And goals kind of paper over the cracks. I've seen you affect games, really. Do you think, and this is a good question, because I still maintain, I think Newcastle away was his best performance, but many fans say Burnley away, and I can't really rebuttal that because he obviously had that great pass for Trossard, whether he meant it or not, and he bagged an overall good performance. Where do you stand on that?
On what bit? Sorry, his general performance.
Gyökeres' best game in an Arsenal shirt. Do you think it was Burnley away or Newcastle away?
Yeah.
Ooh. Or it might have been another game. I don't know. Maybe you think it's the next one.
We've seen different things. Newcastle showed me he was up for the fight.
That's why I went with it.
Absolutely up for it. Burnley showed the most technical quality as in any game. Atletico, I thought he was just in the wars a little bit, and I quite liked it. It's an all-round game I quite liked.
Another one.
Hold up play and stuff. And then there was another one we mentioned there. Oh no, well, Olympiacos was the game where we were finding him in behind the most, and I liked that too.
With Odegaard.
I think my favourite performance from him has been Burnley, even though it was only 45 minutes. It was everything was coming off for him. But when the narrative after that game was, oh, see, this is what we always wanted from Gyökeres. Finally, he delivered. I remember thinking, no, there've been signs of this. Like, there have absolutely been signs that he can do this. And it was annoying me that people weren't giving him as much credit for it as I think he deserved. Weirdly, we thought we were getting a battering ram striker who was going to score loads of goals, who was going to maybe struggle in the all-round game. I actually think his all-round game has been better than I expected.
It's actually, it's the opposite at the moment anyways.
And his finishing's been a bit wayward at times, but that's okay.
Haaland
missed his chances. He missed a big one at Villa. They ended up losing that game. He missed the penalty. That is what strikers do. He is not coming in, Gyökeres, to be Erling Haaland. He's coming in to be someone who gives us a different outlet in attack and hopefully puts up 20 goals throughout the season. If he does that, I'm good.
Everybody fit so that you could include Jesus, Kai Havertz, the option of Marino and Gyökeres. In the best 11, who's your striker? Like, as much as we know it's a squad game and all that kind of stuff, like, who's your number one? Because for me, I do think people are harsh on Havertz, but I'm going with Gyökeres. I just like having a normal's not the right word, but a normal kind of striker up there.
Okay, here's my wild sentence of the day.
Let's go, people.
If we had every player at their every player we've got at their very, very best. Do I mean this? I'll say it. I don't know if I mean it. My favorite is Jesus.
I hear it.
But, and I love him, and I hate to say it, he'll never get back to that, in my opinion. I don't think
Breaks my heart to agree
that Gabriel Jesus again. Personally, I just don't. I too many knee injuries. It's not his fault. It's been years. It's 11th of November 2025. The form we're talking about ended, I think, this time 3 years ago. So
actually, at a World Cup as well, like, he wasn't even in an Arsenal shirt, which is sad.
Hold on, the dates. Let's have a little look. Arsenal beat Wolves. I want to see if I can find it. Wolves 0, Arsenal 2. Who scored? Odegaard double, right?
If I remember correctly.
Do you remember just before the what? Oh my word! 12th of November 2022. Odegaard scored 2 goals. Do you remember Fabio Vieira came on and played quite well? It was the last game for the World Cup, the World Cup, and he got injured after that at the World Cup. So we are 1 day from 3 years since that game, which for me was the last time we had the real Jesus at Arsenal. So I can't sit here and say, to answer your questions with Gabby Jesus, I just think if he were fit and at his very best in the way we saw him 3 years ago, for me, that is my favourite striker we probably put up there. He brings everyone into play, bags of flair.
Another battler and fighter as well. Obviously,
and he had all, the hold up in the air, all that. However, like we said, it's been 3 years. So my best 11 for me is Raya in goal. Is Timber, but at his very best, White is only a couple % off, in my opinion. I love Ben White, but Timber's the better player. Saliba, Gabriel,
left back's tough, man.
Lewis Skelly.
For me, I always say on my channel, left back is the one I don't care about, because you could have the Italian battering ram himself in Calafiori. You could have Miles Lewis Skelly. I know the case study is dead on Hincapié, but I'm very bullish. I don't really care who goes out there. At this moment, recency bias, I'll probably give it Calafiori because you ain't put a foot wrong, but it's Miles Lewis Skelly and he's bloody great. I'll go with that. So what? You got Miles Lewis Skelly, you got Timber, obviously Raya, Gabriel Saliba, midfield. I know you're going with Rice, so there's Rice.
Well,
here's where it could get interesting.
On Miles, his peak is better than we've seen from Calafiori's peak. So, for example, the 2 Madrid games, Man City at home, Miles was sensational in those games.
He's different gravy, man.
And I think Calafiori has put like a better string of like 8 out of 10 performances, whereas Miles, I think, can be a 10 out of 10, then a 7, then a 9, then a 6. And I think he's maybe a little bit, but But when Miles is in that groove, I just don't think you can stop him. Like that goal against Atletico Madrid, where he's driving through the team and rolls it to
He's a
Martinelli.
bully, man. He's a
Yeah,
bully. Like he's
brilliant,
got it.
brilliant
Miles
player.
Lewis Skelly's got it. Well, I know people are doing it. I do think this as well, James, in that you can't have it two ways. You can't talk about Arsenal having a squad and all of this, and then we can't. And I'm the same and cry when your favorite players are not involved. Like it is what it is. Calafiori has not put a foot wrong. As much as I want Timber to get more minutes, Ben White to get more minutes. Timber ain't put a foot wrong. We need 3 points. You mentioned Emre. Yeah, like obviously, if we were 8th and we had 5 games and it's inconsistent, then yeah, other people got to get thrown in. But this season is all about the 3 points first. All that extra stuff second, in my opinion. It's just me though.
The rest of the team, Rice and Zubimendi, and then it's Saka, Erdegaard, and Eze on the left with Gyökeres up front. That for me, everyone at their best. For me, that's the. But I mean, you can bring on Martinelli and Madueke. You can bring on Kai. You can bring on Trossard. You can bring on Dowman. You can bring on Waneri. You can bring on Norgard, Marino.
It's ridiculous.
White, Calafiori. It's a joke of a squad. So let's get them all fit. Gabby Jesus too. Let's just get them fit and back. There's some reports from Tom Canton, I think, that there might be a behind the scenes
against Cardiff today.
Behind closed doors friendly.
That's multiple opportunities because you got behind closed doors friendly where our 21s are playing Cardiff. There's opportunities for these guys that are injured, maybe to get 20 minutes, half an hour, 45. I don't know. I'd imagine Arsenal's first team players though would play behind closed doors. Arteta.
So I got that wrong. I think it's under 21s, not.
No, you're right because I think me and you are conflating two things. I think we're playing the 21. The 21s are playing Cardiff today, but there's also rumors of behind closed doors friendlies during the international break. So I think it's kind of both of them. So yeah, you're not wrong, James. You're not wrong.
Okay, well, let's see. That would be really, really interesting to see who gets minutes in that because we need them back, man. North London derby. This is big.
We'll get onto it, but the run of games, we need everybody back fit, and obviously the byproduct of that is the players that are fit are having to play more minutes. Unfortunately, people are going off, and I won't say unfortunate because they're honoured to play for your country, but from a selfish Arsenal point of view, players playing for their countries, it gives us a bit of nerves in it. You want players to come back and just kind of be okay. What do you think of this? Is there any possibility Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, and Gyökeres could all play in the same 11? It'd be nasty, but I think it could work, on a game-by-game basis. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I think I could only get 2 of the 3 in the team if I was Arsenal manager.
You could do it. You could put Jesus on the left or on the right. You could put Havertz in the left 8 and Gyökeres up front. Would I want to see it? No. I think there's too much lacking technically there, if I'm honest. Look, Gabriel Jesus is a very technical player, but not from like a midfield perspective or like a winger perspective. It's like he's dropping. Now, when Jesus plays out wide, he does a job, but he's not like tearing apart his fullback time and time again. Kai Havertz isn't one to control midfield. He'll want to run off Victor Gyökeres, but is Gyökeres someone who do we trust his touch and his control and his overall game enough to bring in a Kai Havertz? I think if we're chasing a goal, yeah, get your strikers on the pitch, get your 9s on the pitch, but. If we got too many, I don't think we'll ever see it because we've got too many options.
But that's what we want. We want those options. And like, even again, as much as for me at this moment in time, I don't really think our strongest 11 is like it has Eze and Odegaard in midfield. But I think that's what annoyed me beyond the obvious about Odegaard's injury, because a lot of Arsenal fans were doing, Eze, Odegaard, which one? Arteta went, you know what? Fuck it. I'll give you both of them. Both of them started, obviously got injured, but you need the scope for that. You need the scope for Jesus. You need, like, this is not going to be my first choice stuff, but you need the abilities to be able to do that. It all depends on the game state and what we want. Like, based on this question, shout yourself, Linz. The only way you could do it for me is obviously Jesus off the left, Gyökeres through the middle. Kai would have to, for me, it's not Odegaard, but you can replicate what he does off the ball. You'd have to go into that role. And then I'm probably over-reliant, if I'm honest with you, on Rice, Zubimendi, or, you could get an Eze or whatever in there to kind of give me what I want technically. When I look at those 3, it's just chaos. It's chaotic. Havertz box crashing or dropping deep. Gyökeres the same. Jesus just being what I call Brazilians in it. So, yeah, I'm with James in that it could work, but on the ball, what we'd want from midfield, the kind of fluidity across 90 minutes, you're probably a bit more reliant on the other more technical midfielders, and you're probably relying a bit more on a Miles Lewis Skelly or a Calafiori to kind of help us in build-up play. So I can't say I'm on it, but I think the biggest theme is we need all of those players back. Bit of a trick question for you, James, yeah, but Because obviously you want all of the players back and all of that jazz, yeah. But which player would, if you could only put your hat on one, like out of all the players that are injured, which one would you want back today, like right now?
Odegaard.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Oh, between Odegaard and Gyökeres, to be fair. It's a techie one, man. It's techie. It's one where you can't really answer.
No, okay, it is Gyökeres because ultimately we've got Eze and Waneri, but
no, we miss Odegaard. We do miss him.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
The Sunderland game with Odegaard, if I'm honest, just because of the press and the structure and all that jazz.
I think we'd have had more control earlier on as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the team had done quite well. People need to remember that when people say, "Oh, we didn't really have control against Sunderland for the first 45," it's like, yeah, well, we came up against fourth in the table, away from home, with what is still a new midfield. Zubimendi and Eze signed this summer.
Exactly.
It's. I don't really know why the expectation was Arsenal. You have to have a big window. You have to sign loads of players, and you have to bed them in immediately. I don't really know. Like, we're seeing Nico start to ball out for Man City.
He's been there for over a year.
He was poor. He's been there nearly a year. He was poor at the start, or average, or whatever. I don't know. People have watched him more than me, but it just takes time. Like, it's happened with Liverpool players where they just take a year sometimes just to settle. Like, Liverpool fans weren't loving Gakpo at the start.
Exactly.
So Bosley's in his best form now, but it's his third season there.
Gravenberch is only under Slot has he looked like a proper kind of player. He weren't really doing much under Klopp.
Right. It can happen. It can absolutely happen. So yeah, I'm pretty relaxed about the fact that our team need a bit of time to click.
But that's the jarring thing, James, though, man. Many people don't see that stuff. Like, they just new signings will be what is all the attraction, but developing relationships, improving existing players, summed up with actually Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes and their development at this football club. You need to give people time. That's why I said at the start, I'm not going to do too much. 11 games in to a 4 or 5 year contract for half of these players, whether they flop or not. And I always say, just generally in the Premier League, from August, I'm looking to get to the 10-11 game mark, because it's now where I get to see kind of what every team's about, James. Like, now you've had time to get some fitness and fluidity. We kind of know what you're saying, type of thing. Yeah. That's just me, though, man.
No, I agree. We're into the biggest stretch of the season now. When we come back from the international break, it will be end of November to mid-March. That's basically 4 months, right? Wait, into December, January, February. That's 4 months of relentless football.
That leads me to bring this up there, James, man. Like, let me remove the comment. I'll come back to your question, my boy. Let me zoom in a bit, because not even I can see. But you touched on it. How are you feeling then about these run of games? North London. Let's start with November. North London derby, obviously. Bayern at home, Chelsea away, and then obviously, early into December you got Brentford and Villa.
I think a bit much is being made. Of course, it's a tough run. Of course, it is. But 2 of them are at home, so we return with the North London derby and Bayern. Of course, they're massive, massive, massive games. We then go away to Chelsea. Yeah, it's not an ideal 3 games in a row. Of course, it's not. It's followed by a home game against Brentford, which is, 3 days later. A trip to Villa Park, trip to Bruges, home to Wolves, away to Everton, home to Palace. And that takes us then Brighton, and then Villa at home, and then 2 more home games. I don't think the run to the new year is that terrible, if I'm honest. Of course, there's some sticky games in there, but welcome to football. Welcome to the Premier League. There are going to be loads of sticky games. I just think, because I promise you, if you pull up Man City's, it looks awkward too. It's just the nature. It is honestly just the nature of, the football landscape right now. Yeah, because I had a little look at this. So Man City have Newcastle away, Leverkusen at home, Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, Real Madrid away, Palace away, Brentford at home, West Ham at home. Where does that take them to? Forest away, Sunderland away. And then when you go into the new year, they have Chelsea, United, and they've got Liverpool. There you go, Liverpool and Tottenham back to back. That's by beginning of Feb.
See why squad rotation and availability is crucial at this point in the season.
Right, so there are patches of games that are coming thick and fast for all of us. They have Man United, Tottenham, and Liverpool away, all in the space of 2 weeks. I think that is 2.5, 3 weeks. Listen, honestly, Arsenal fans, do not get bogged down in what our fixture list looks like. Welcome to football.
Just it sounds cliche, James, and people don't care. And naturally, yes, managers are looking at blocks of fixtures and saying we need X amount of points. But as cliche as it is, it is a thing of game by game. There's no point. Like right now, it has to be the North London derby, obviously with one eye because of the turnaround against Bayern. It can only be the North London derby. We take the good and we try and make it great. Obviously, the airs of the things that we need to improve in the Sunderland game. Football's decided at both ends. Were we as clinical in the box as we could be? Were we as good defensively as we could be? Probably not, or we would have got a result. Let's just take it to a suitable level. We're not going to win all games. We're not going to keep clean sheets and all. Just thank our lucky stars. Even when it feels like a loss, we actually haven't lost. That it depends how you look at it. It could be a point gained against Sunderland. It could be 2 points because at one point in the game, both teams had to come from behind or both teams failed to hold their lead. We should be as confident as ever that we can come out of these fixtures doing well. Obviously, there's tough games there, but like you said, welcome to football, welcome to the Premier League. The only thing, when you was wheeling off and I was agreeing, the only thing I was saying in my mind is, James, I hope all our players are available.
That's a great point. That's a great point. These things really matter when you are like, for me, honestly, focus more on injuries than fixture list.
Exactly.
That's what I'd say. If there's any sort of like, oh, that's going to be tough, talk about the games missed for key players and squad players, not the nature of games, because this will be the same all season. For the rest of the season, it will be tricky. The run of games we have, Facts. It just will be in different patches. What I look to more is getting everyone back, and I think you're spot on that.
That's all we need. Just get players back. Who would you say is your player of the season so far?
What a question, because a couple of weeks ago, it had been Calafiori, Timber's up there, Gabriel's up there, Trossard in the last few weeks has made a claim for it. I'll probably go Gabriel, but Timber is right up there. Calafiori was top for me a few weeks ago, but I think he slipped down to third maybe. So I have Timber and Gabriel too.
Is Rice sneaking in there? I actually, last couple of games, like maybe not so much Sunderland, but I'm thinking Rice, you're starting to sneak into it for me. You're really getting into it. And like you said, Trossard, I don't want to ever downplay Trossard because a lot of people wanted you gone, rightly or wrongly. You're probably our best attacker at this moment. In fact, you are. You're playing out your skin.
Yeah. I mean, Trossard is in sensational form, but I think the attackers need to do a little bit more for me to give it to them. Give it to the defense.
A million percent. And I also want to ask you as well, like, what are you saying for our young players? Not necessarily Max Down when he's 15, he's doing his thing, but the Nwanieris, the Miles Lewis Skelly's, like, what do you think the future holds for them with this season? Because I don't feel Nwaneri, unpopular opinion, I want to see Nwaneri exposed to more minutes and stuff like that. But I can see why you're in the role you're in. As difficult as it is when you haven't had a run of games, you're not where you need to be off the ball and all of them kind of things. But it's expected. You're 18. You're developing physically. You're trying to get that consistency. As much as he's great and we love him and you did great stuff last season, I personally think a bit of tranquillo is required, man. Like, let these guys be young players. Like, Saka never had that luxury. Like, there was a point, even at left back, we're relying on you to make the difference. And when Smith Rowe was here, and obviously you can throw Martinelli into that as well at a point.
Yeah, I think, look, Arteta, I think, has dispelled the myth that he doesn't want to play youngsters, right? Because he played Lewis Skelly at the Bernabeu, Nwaneri has been developed from the age of 17, Dowman at 15, Saka's been one of his key players, Martinelli's been around a long time, Smith Rowe
started a news up front for Brighton against Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to be a certain level for him to do it. I'm not worried about it. Phil Foden, there were years, and I actually mean years, of clamoring for more game time for him.
Yep.
But he developed with De Bruyne, David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Sterling, Sane, Mahrez, all in his position. All of them were playing positions he could play in. And he just slowly, on the slow cooker, just slowly getting there till he was ready to be unleashed, to the point where he became player of the season for Man City and they won their fourth in a row. So Arteta will take his time with Nwaneri, and that's okay. And I really hope Ethan buys into it, because now we've got the squad.
He signed a 5-year deal. He's got no choice right now.
Exactly. And now that we've got the squad, there is no rush to play him. In any of these games, have I felt that he should have played more? Not really. In any of these games, I think he should have come off sooner. Not really. But at the same time, when he has come on, I've been pretty comfortable. It wasn't great in Prague, but every other time, I've pretty much liked what I've seen. So Ethan will keep doing his thing. He is one of the most exciting young talents in England. I really believe that. So we'll just take our time with it. I don't think we need to rush.
I think he's become like a not underrated or forgotten, but like obviously we're trying to win a league. Bert has done his thing. We've got 8 players. You know, there's Eze, there's Max Dowman. It's almost like Wanyeri's a kind of forgotten man, but I genuinely think he'll be all right. What he just needs to do is take his chances. If I'm honest with you, he should just learn from Odegaard. Everything Odegaard does off the ball, just do that. I've got 2 questions for you, so I'll let you get out of here. Yeah, big
All
up
good.
Arsenal. I don't know how you spell your name, but big up yourself, my boy. What do you think about Endrick loan if Jesus goes in Jan? What do you think of
I
that,
think,
James?
yeah, I did read that. I don't love it, if I'm honest. I think Endrick's a player that plays up front / off the right. Too crowded that area for me. But I mean, look, obviously, like an incredibly exciting young talent. I don't know how he's been doing at Real Madrid. I just
Clearly not
don't.
that well if they're loaning him out. He's struggling for football, isn't it?
I don't think we're past the Erdegaard, Ceballos, loans. I think if you're
Stop
going to go get
developing
someone from
young
Real
players for the
Madrid,
sake of it.
go get Rodrigo. If that's the guy, if you want someone from Real Madrid, I don't know how much he's playing. I don't really keep up with too much outside the Premier League. So I just think we're beyond the Real Madrid loans because they're not getting the minutes they're needed to there. Obviously, if Mikel thinks they're brilliant, then great. But yeah, I'm all right.
Do you see Jesus going in Jan? Because I
No,
don't. I mean, obviously, there's scope of a loan. I'm sure if Jesus was on offer, like I put myself in, I don't know, a random team's position. Someone offers me Jesus, what the Arsenal player, the ex-City guy, the Brazil. I'm gonna be excited. But when you start looking at wages, considering the fact that he's coming back from another ACL, it's mid-season. If it's not a loan and the conditions have to be favorable, like Arsenal probably still have to pay the majority of his wages. I'm not doing that. And even that, if Jesus is going to be a deputy striker or a left wing option, I think he's a good tool to have in the toolbox. Like I always get nervous around January. Like there's a couple of players that I wouldn't be against Arsenal leaving Arsenal necessarily. January's not the time for it, in my opinion, because you're gonna
I,
have to. We'd be weaker. But yeah,
I agree. See out the season, then we can take note from there.
and then the last question, James, or why is it not coming up? Do you guys think we need a signing in January? I'm hearing in brackets, socials and media, City will enter the market in Jan. I mean, they buy all the time, City, but where you at with that, James?
Yeah, I could see City going for someone because like their only cover for Haaland is Marmoush, who's also a winger. I could see them wanting to get a little bit more depth or trusted depth, let's say. But Arsenal, I think we only move if there's an opportunity, or like if something happens, like if someone comes in and offers 35 million for Trossard,
Would you
they
do that in January?
like I wouldn't right now because he's been sensational.
All right, cool. Let me make it difficult. This form continues. Even if he gets dropped and he's a rotationary option, he goes back to being Trossard, the super sub. We get to January now. We're still talking about Trossard in this regards. Where it's everything to play for. 35, 40 million is on the table. Do you do that?
Yes, probably.
Oh, are you sure, James? In Jan?
Provided you have the replacement like ready to go, like Semenyo or someone like that. Yeah, I think we're very good as a fan base at just remembering the last few weeks. Trossard has been someone that we've struggled to rely on as a starter, and this is his 3rd or 4th season. I really like Trossard, by the way. I really like him. But yeah, for that money, I would take it. But again, with a replacement. But my ideal, by the way, is absolutely not that. I don't think anything should be changing in January. This is the first transfer window in my Arsenal supporting life where I hope no business happens. I'm like, don't bring anyone in, no one out, keep it the same. We move on to the summer. We'll reconvene then. And that's
Unless
when
it's Semenyo or something.
changes. So I wouldn't want to do it. But if it came in, he wanted to go, he was up for it, and you could get a Semenyo for 60, net spend a 20. Yeah, I would do it.
I mean, it's like you said there, James. Like, if certain dominoes fall into place, then it is what it is. And the key point I took from what you just said there, like, obviously, if a player wants to go, he wants to go. Best of luck. But if I'm not sure because I wanted to add. I think we're weak at left wing. I know there was a lot of talk around Trossard and Martinelli leaving. Them players for me are players that I wouldn't force out the door, but like we're kind of humoring ourselves. write offers, entertain it, gets the mouth wet kind of thing. I would kind of want to let him go if that is the case. But in Jan, unless we're adding, I'm not on it. Like the summer, I'll even take a bit less in the summer just because I want to achieve what I want to achieve at this moment in time. Money talks and all the other stuff walks. Like you said, you know, we have spent a lot of money, and if Trossard wants to go, it is what it is. But I wanted to keep Trossard and Martinelli and add a Semenyo and add a Rodrigo or add some Joe Blogs. The only thing I disagree with that is if there's scope to bring some level of talent in January, for me, go and do it. But for me, it's that left wing because I'm kind of nervous about left wing, James. I'll be real. I'm probably exaggerating with that, but I feel if I just humor you for this moment in time, yeah, I wouldn't do it. But in theory, you could make Wanyeri or Dalman do jobs over there. Probably more realistic. You've got Trossard, you've got Martinelli, you've got Jesus, you've got Eze. I'm probably missing someone else out. There's no one that I bet my hat on, if that makes sense, James, for 30, 35, 38 games. When I look at the right, that's my man. When I look through the middle between Gyökeres and Kai and even a Marino and a Jesus, that's my man. I feel we missed the trick, man. Yeah. But we've got enough to achieve what we can achieve. In fact, James, my proper last question for you. Go on, because this is something I wanted to ask as well. Go on.
No. Go for it. Go for your question. Because I actually do need to dip off in a sec.
No. I'll let you go. We've obviously spoken a lot, about Premier League. Like, do you think there's scope for more than one trophy? Like somebody asked in the chat, like, do you think we could do the quadruple? I don't know if I'm gonna go that far with it.
Well, okay. I think there is scope for it.
I'm just asking multiple silverware, or 2 at the minimum.
After so long without a trophy, I'm sort of thinking, well, I'll take the one. Obviously, all our eyes are on the Premier League and Champions League. It feels like after all these years, we need to do one of those two.
Facts.
I really am enjoying beating Port Vale, beating Brighton, because I also want the Carabao Cup. I also want the FA Cup. When that comes around, I want trophies. Like, I think this group is good enough to collect, I don't know, to collect silverware, across a few seasons. I think they're good enough. So I hope they do. So I'm not, and I don't really discount any of the other competitions. For me, I want silverware. I want to win things. So let's see, man. That's the task for Mikel.
As that's the task for Mikel. Fingers, toes, everything crossed that we win something in May of 2026. I don't know if we're going to win the Prem or the Champs or whatever, but I genuinely believe May 2026, there's a parade. We've won something. Couldn't tell you the competition. I genuinely believe that. James, it's been a pleasure. Where can people find you?
Yeah, Gooniverse and Gooniverse News. So thank you to Rob and thank you for having me, man. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a little while, but now we're getting some good Arsenal news as well. I know we just drew, but things are looking good for the team. So yeah. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's always refreshing hearing somebody that just actually has balanced opinions, and it's nice to just bounce opinions and ideas off you. We're gonna let James get out of here. I'm gone as well, people. I hope after you lot been banging on for me to get James, we've delivered. Smash the like button, subscribe, follow on the platforms, and most importantly, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Come on, you Gunners, man. James, one love, my boy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we're out. Always